And I know there's an angel in the sky. And every time I think about you, I cry. But I gotta move on. Keep going.
Great day, friends. Welcome to Zoe Life Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Domeka Kelley. And today we have two special guests, Clint and Gunnar Hammett. I can't wait for you to see this episode and hear everything that God has put on their heart and all that they're doing in their life as they live the Zoe life, living life to its fullest. Thank you. It's crazy, Clint, that I can't even really find the words. I was just sharing with Gunnar a few minutes ago how I'm not starstruck at all, but kind of being in his presence, a 12-year-old kid, being in his presence, kind of make me nervous a little bit. And so I'm excited to have you all here today. We have Clint, my friend, a mentor, the CEO of the Boy Scouts, and he's going to help me out and he's going to correct me, but I do know he is the CEO of the Boy Scouts. And we have his son, Gunnar Hammett, who is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I don't know, I stopped counting, but he broke so many world records. Track and field is his thing. He specialized in, I think, the 200, the 400, and maybe the 800, but he would definitely let us know. But I just want to welcome our esteemed guests for being here tonight. Let's give them a hand, Zoe Life.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And Domeka, I'll tell you, I would love to take the credit of being the CEO for the Boy Scouts of America, which is the overall organization. Gotcha. But it's Colonial Virginia Council, which is just our small little office here in the Newport News area. And we cover a little bit out beyond that. But in any event, I'll take the promotion any day.
I like that.
Well, thanks for having us.
I appreciate it. And thank you
Absolutely.
for teaching me. That's what you always do. You always look out for me.
Hey, it's love, brother. It's love.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Man, I don't even know how to start this podcast today. I really don't. I mean, I'm excited. I really am. I'm grateful. I'm appreciative. But, man, I know that this podcast today is going to be explosive. I said that about our last guest, and it was, in fact, explosive. And so I can only imagine what's going to take place here today. And I kind of want to start with just maybe asking, I'm going to start with you, Clint.
Sure.
Who are you?
I am Clint Hammett. I am a person of faith first, before anything. Secondarily, I'm a father, and I take great pride in having the opportunity to own that title.
Wow.
And by saying own, I live that every day of my life. And when you go through certain things in life, such as, the loss of a child earlier on in your marriage, and the Lord blesses you with another child, we don't take that for granted. So when I wake up in the morning every day and give thanks to the good Lord for allowing me another day, my second priority is good morning to my family, because in today's time it's not guaranteed. And having that void some years ago and then seeing it be fulfilled is why I am unapologetic, my friend, yes, in terms of being a man of faith first, and a father, a husband, a son, a brother, and just an overall, I like to say, down-to-earth, humble, good person that didn't forget where he came from. That's who I am.
I like that. Man, you better have me crying. It's too early to cry.
Hey, I mean, that's what we do. We we're real men. We're fuchsia. We're pink, and that's okay. And we could, if need be, we can shed a tear. But that's what we're here for. I think more people need to see that. Yeah. It's just real.
Yeah. Wow. Gunnar.
Yes, sir.
Who are you? Who is Gunnar Hammett?
Well, I would say Gunnar Hammett is a 7-time world record holder in track and field, and I specialize in the 2, 4, and 8.
I was almost there.
Yes,
I was
sir.
almost there.
You said it. It wasn't quite the first one, but you did say it.
I did say it?
Yeah.
That's because I follow you.
You said it all the way up to 8.
All the way up to 8. You pay attention to detail like that.
Yes, sir.
I like that. Now I got another question. And you sort of answered it for me, Clint, and I can give you some context.
Sure.
If you want, but who are you really?
Who am I really? You know, I would again say, you know, for me, my answer wouldn't change. I walk by faith.
Yeah.
And to me, that's the answer to everything. That defines who you are. Because at the end of the day, those that certainly walk by faith are not questioning the path that was put before them.
Wow.
You just enjoy the journey. And that's what we do on a daily basis. So everything else is more or less, you know, secondary, but for me, it's just continuing to walk my path. So I'm a person that will walk his path that's been provided for me, and not question it, embrace it.
And that's a great response, a great answer to my question, because that question to me, the intent of that question is to try to dig a little bit deep into a person's purpose. And you told me through your answer your purpose. Let's speak about your purpose a little bit more, about that path. What is it? What exactly is that path that you're walking?
You know, I feel like since birth, and having the opportunity to experience my upbringing, one that was the first to graduate in college in my family, one that grew up in the projects and was thankful for it because as a youngster, you didn't really realize that, you know, you were in a project. I mean, it was just, we're going to go outside, we're going to play marbles, we're going to play hide and seek, we're going to go to a free public swimming pool and, and you know, wake up and do the same thing over again. But my purpose was not to stay in that environment. It was to empower people, to let them know that if they work hard, they'd have an opportunity to see themselves further. So I like to consider myself more of a risk taker. And what I mean by that is, you know, didn't really have a, you know, traditional career path, I would say. After graduating, I worked in a parenting program called Fatherhood Initiative. So helping fathers while I was 22, and obviously not a parent, but learn about being a dad and, you know, helping with GED, and employment skills, resume writing, careers, things of that nature. And then within 2 years, found out about the organization within the Boy Scouts. And, you know, for me, I didn't grow up seeing Scouts in my community. So I thought to myself, you know, if I ever had a family, then what person out there wouldn't want to see their kids involved with, you know, more character, more outdoor education, more leadership? So I said, I'm going to give it a try. And the first thing I'm going to do is make sure that every kid in the inner city had an opportunity.
Wow.
Because we become what we see.
That's right.
So if we don't see that there's some positivity out there, we may see the other side of things, right? That we're trying to grow from and grow into and blossom into the special person that we know God has set before us. So definitely took that opportunity on and took a chance to go out to the D.C. area, you know, where I didn't have any family there.
Yeah.
And it was like, how do you relocate when you're in an area and you're by yourself? It's like you're taking a chance.
Wow.
But again, you know, when you don't question the path, you enjoy the journey. It's for a purpose. And because of that chance that I've took, I'm sitting here with my boy.
Good God.
I met my wife, beautiful wife.
Simone.
Have my daughter, Simone,
Harlow.
absolutely, in Harlow. And I am forever indebted. So my purpose was to show those with me, in addition, those after and before me, that anything's possible. But you got to stay dedicated and devoted and, you know, and just again, you know, don't question the journey. Embrace it. And know that it's going to be all right at the end of the day. So that's who I am, and that's my purpose, is to let folks know you can go get it. I watch you, Domeka, in the morning when you're running, and you'll say, go get it.
Yeah.
Go get it. We don't have enough positive people out there telling our young folks out there to go get it.
That's right.
And then they're in limbo. But my challenge out there today on this podcast platform is to definitely tell you that God has a plan in store. And I'm going to challenge you to go get it without second questioning anything. That's my purpose.
Man, you be breaking me down. Whether we at lunch, eating together. We was at lunch Friday. Friday. And we having conversations just like this. And I'm listening to your dad and I'm crying. I'm like, this dude here is amazing. And my question for you now, because I'm big on purpose. Mm-hmm. Just like you, big on purpose. And similar to your story, I grew up in what I call the hood, the projects. And where I'm from, it wasn't many fathers in the home. Mm-hmm. It was very few fathers in the home where I grew up at in downtown Newport News. Mm-hmm. And so I see the passion that you have for your family. I see the passion that you have for other fathers and teaching them as well and being a role model to them. Was your father in the home with you?
Yeah.
Okay.
My dad was certainly in the picture.
Wow.
And involved as well.
Yeah.
But to the level of, where I am right now within, my children, it's like on a 10th level. You know what I mean?
I do.
And again, back to what, we talked about is having a chance to bring a family in this world is something that some people take for granted.
Yeah.
And, if you're blessed with a second opportunity or third opportunity, you know what it's like to feel empty inside.
Wow.
To walk down the store and to walk down an aisle and see diapers and know that you almost had a child to put the diaper on, but not be able to, because as men, who do we talk to?
Yeah.
Right? It's
right.
You feel like there's a lot of support. So it's ironic that, again, my first career was Fatherhood Initiative, helping dads and, become better fathers.
That's right.
So, like I said, I'm excited about life.
Oh, it's
overall.
Zoe life.
I am.
Living life to its fullest. That's
Till
what you
its
do.
Fullest. Absolutely.
I watch you live like that. I do. What about you, Guns? Like, who are you really? I'm going to give you some context, too. You heard your dad respond. Mm-hmm. But I like to tell this story. I had a mentor. His name was Dick Woodward. He was a quadriplegic, meaning he was paralyzed from the neck on down. All he was a head, a brain, and a smile. And the first day I met him, he asked me, he said, who is Domeka Kelley? And I told him who I was. I said, I'm a husband. I love my wife. I love my kids. I love people. And then he asked me, he said, who are you really? And I didn't know. And I'm just staring at him. And he looking at me, he said, it's okay. You can be honest. But what he was doing, he was trying to lead me, like your dad and I just talked about, to my purpose. Like, what was I created for? Like, why did God create me? And I didn't even know. And I was, at this time, I was a pastor of a church. I'm following Jesus Christ and I'm leading the church, but I still didn't know who I was really. I still didn't know my purpose. And so I just know in you are a phenomenal athlete. One of the greatest already at your age. You broke 7 world records and still going, but you're more than that. So who is Gunnar Hammett really?
Well, Gunnar Hammett really is, he's a member of the 100 Black Men, and I'm a mentee in that program, and I'm also a student athlete first. And also Gunnar is also driven, he's motivated and dedicated in every practice that he does to do better and keep on going with the sport called track.
Wow. See, that's what I'm talking about. That hey, look, I'm glad this is my podcast, so I can do what I want to do and say what I want to say. Dude, see, that's why I admire you so much. I mean, you're 12 years old. I watch you practice. I literally watch you practice.
Yeah.
And I watch you pay attention to detail. Even as far as the starting line. You want to make sure that you're right at the starting line. I can't give the location where you practice that, but I was observing you and I just watched. Okay, if I'm probably the fastest 11, 12-year-old kid, not only in the country, but probably in the world.
Yeah.
But yet I pay attention to so much detail because I want to get better. I want to grow. And then you have the humility to sit here and answer these questions. I know you get it from your dad, but man, you're so poised, you're so calm, and you're so humble. And that's one of the reasons why I admire you so much. As a student athlete, what you said, you're a student athlete first. Student athlete first. So I'm proud of you, man, and that's why I kind of get nervous. And I think I just figured it out because I've been around a lot of men, high caliber men, important men, such as your dad. But I've never been around an 11-year-old kid like you. Ever. Never. And I don't know if that's proper English or what, but I've never seen it. And so I'm still adjusting to that. And I watch you grind. I watch you grind. And as humble as you are right now, and as likable as you are right now, I watch you compete. So it's like it's two different guns that I know. It's one that's humble, but then when you compete, you like a different beast. You turn into a different person. Let's talk about that. What you be thinking about
Before I run?
Yeah, before you run.
What I be thinking about before I run is first you gotta, pray to God on your race, and then I think about my family. I think that's my number one motivation. That keeps me running and keeps me moving on the pace that I am. And yeah, and then other than that, it's just me running, me and my peers and my opponents, me and them running on the track in my races.
So you God first.
Yeah, always.
Always.
Yeah.
That's what motivates you.
No other way.
Scriptures. No other way.
And then student athlete.
The student athlete.
Third.
God first, your family, then you being a student athlete.
Yes.
And that's what this podcast is about. It's like we enjoying our life, every day of our life, and living it to its fullest. But in order to do that, we have to put God first.
Yes.
And so, as an athlete, and I want to get back to your dad in a minute. As an athlete, right? Myself as an athlete, and I may be 46 now. I may not look like much of an athlete no more, but I was an elite basketball player. Mm-hmm. And I'm the type of basketball player that can teach you how not to get there. Because the mistakes that I made was good enough, but I can teach you how not to get there by making the bad decisions that I made and choices. But I had a ritual.
Yeah.
It was something that I did before I competed. I still have a ritual now. Before I go preach, before I go speak at a conference, I have rituals, and those rituals kind of get me in the mindset to be prepared. Mentally, I go through my rituals to get prepared, to be able to grab that moment and really compete, really give it my all. And so I watch your ritual. Whether or not you know it, I know what your ritual is, what you do before you run. And the reason why I'm going to ask you to explain your ritual to us and to our worldwide audience is because what you do, it gives validity to what you say. You really put God first. So what's the thing that you do before you run? I watch you do it at the start line. I watch you do it at practice. You want your dad to help you?
Oh, like right before I run?
Yeah.
Like when I'm getting ready to get down and they say, on your mark.
Yeah.
I jump up. Always 2 jumps.
Okay.
And then it's like this.
There we go.
It's like
there
that.
We go.
You praise the Lord before you run, always. And that's how I run.
That's crazy.
Can't run any other way than that.
Wow. So with all the talent that you have, you still trust God to get you from the starting point to the finish line.
Yes.
A lot of people don't know this, but Michael Vick, of course, you know that's my god brother.
Yeah.
And before he played every Sunday, he used to be extremely nervous nervous. And what he would do, he would call me before every game, and we would pray before every game. He did not want to step on that field without us praying. And if I was unavailable not to pray, in rare instances I would be, he would call me and let me know that he prayed before he stepped on the field. And so I think that's an amazing thing. Some of the most elite athletes in the world understand it's not only based on your talent, but you know that you have God-given gifts and you put God first. And so I'm excited to see you at such a young age putting God first. Yeah. Yeah. Speak to that, Clint. Speak to that. How does that make you feel as a father?
You know, I would say the fact that he certainly embodies faith and, you know, shows his belief prior to running is a testament to who he is as a person. And it's a reminder to him that because of the Lord's work, you're in the position that you're in right now.
Wow.
There are a lot of great athletes out there, but to sometimes reach a level of generational, you got to dig deeper within faith. And we often forget that. So I'm excited. I'm elated to watch him up there. And the unique part is he does that on his own. There was nothing that was taught to him. You know, hey, Gunner, you need to go out there. And he marches to his own beat, his own drum, and kind of does his own thing. A significant credit, you know, I'll be remiss if I didn't shout out his mother.
Yeah.
My wife, Simone Hammett, for also reminding our circle that, you know, faith is foremost.
Wow.
In addition to his biggest cheerleader, Harlow, as well. We got a unique family dynamic.
Yes.
And when you embody that with Christ, you're undefeated.
I like that. I like that.
You're undefeated. Whether you lose, win, or draw, you're undefeated.
That's right.
And that's kind of how we operate. And the one thing you mentioned is you talked about, you know, how humble Gunner is.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'll give you an example of that. We were just at a camp a few days ago. And he's fresh off of breaking 2 world records and all this good stuff. He's in front of, you know, I'd say 40 or so, 40, 50 mentees, and we're there for the weekend. And everybody's standing up. His first day, stand up, introduce yourself, let everybody know who you are. Gunner stands up, and everybody's ready to hear him say everything he's done. And he's like, I'm Gunner Hammett, and I play the trombone.
No way.
So, of course, I'm there, and I'm like, boy, like, Gunner, I mean, and that was it. He sat down, cool as can be. So, and then we close out. Our last day, we're closing out. And it was like, all right, you guys have been here for a few days. Now it's an opportunity again to talk a little bit about who you are. Let somebody know something, you know, something other than, you know, what you've already mentioned. And what'd you say?
I said my name is Gunner Hammett, and I like playing Madden.
So on the ride home, it's he and I. And so I'm like, Guns, let me ask you a question. You know, it's the dad/coach in me now. Let me ask you a question. You had an opportunity to say a few things, man, but you opted not to. You're like, nah, you know. So I was like, what was the reason for that? And what was your answer? Do you remember why you said you didn't?
I think it was because I said that people, I don't want to say something that someone already knows about me. And it's kind of like, I feel, in my opinion, kind of cocky to me to say something that someone already knows about me. So I feel like I should say something that someone doesn't know about me.
Wow.
Yeah, and make them learn something new about me.
Like I just did.
That's, you know.
Never knew that you could play the trombone. Never. You know what? I read a quote. No, I heard a quote, and it says this. It says that you're never too young to teach, and you're never too old to learn. And that's what you've been doing for me. You've been teaching me. You are the epitome, the perfect example of somebody that in my opinion, has all the potential in the world, but yet it's connected with humility. That's going to take you far. The Bible says that a person's gift will make room for them and bring them before great people. And that's what your gift is doing. because I'm a firm believer that God give us all unique talents and gifts. But what we do with those unique and talents is our gift back to God. And it's evident that you've been giving your gift back to God, because look at the rooms that God is allowing you to be in. 12 years old, flying to Seattle, then flying to Philadelphia within the span of a week and breaking records. I mean, you just recently, we're going to talk about this, got an award. You just got honored with the mayor, Donnie Tuck, one of my buddies. And so it's like, man, God, it's evident that God trusts you with your gift, and you really are grateful for what God has done for you. I'm proud of you. And I think, too, I always tell people, even when I talk to your dad, I say, man, Gunner has the full package. He has it all. You have the look. I think you might get that from my side of the family, because you're handsome like me. Except, yes, you got hair. You just got hair.
The blonde mohawk.
The blonde mohawk. Yep, you got the look. You know, your dad handsome, too. But you got the look. You got the humility. But it's your character. Because I tell people, your gift would get you in the room, but it's your character that's going to keep you there. And Gunner, at 12 years old, your character is intact. It's intact. And I'm just kind of amazed. I'm amazed at that. And I'm happy for you. And I know that it comes from your upbringing. It comes from your mom, and it comes from your dad. And I want to say something, too, because if you ever see your family, like I know your family, you come to a track meet, and your dad and you, and we're going to talk about this, too. I watch how y'all work. Y'all are such a great team, how y'all work. He's a phenomenal coach. And I coached my son, both my sons, in basketball, and we didn't get along like you and your dad get along. They didn't listen to me like you listen to your dad. And so, but I watched Simone and Harlow, and you talked about how your family support one another. The first time I saw you run, this was about, I don't know, a year or two ago. First time I saw you run, that's when I first met Harlow. And she was smaller than she is now. And she was timid. Simone made her come and speak. She came and speak, but she actually gave me a hug. She hugged my leg. But when you start running, that little body turned into like a amplifier or something. All I heard was, "Go, Gunner! Go, Gunner! You can do it, Gunner! Run, Gunner!" How does that make you feel, man, to have the support of your family the way that you do? And your sibling, your little sister, looks up to you. How does that make you feel?
Like I said before I run, think about my family makes me feel amazing. And yeah, like I said, it's God first, family second, and then student athlete third. So yeah, family, I really am thankful for them and everything that they done. As far as it goes, as my dad comes from work and takes me leaves work early to come pick me up from my mom, who drives me from my house to the track, and he picks me up and goes to work early and trains me there. Wow. And then he goes back, and when we're done, we go home. So yeah, really, really big thanks to them. And Harlow, as you said, is my little cheerleader. Yeah, I love her. Bella, as if you don't know who that is, it's my grandma. She tries to make as many track meets as she can, and every time she does it, I'm so happy and I'm filled with joy every time she does make it. So yeah, I love my family.
And that's great, because you're 12 years old, and I keep saying you're 12 years old because it's like you've been here before. But you still considering the sacrifices that your parents, that your grandmother, that your little sibling make to make sure that they're supporting your dream. You know, you're not slighting them at all. You're recognizing the sacrifices that they made. And sometimes as kids, when I was 12 years old, I was extremely selfish. But that's not you. And I think that's one reason why God is blessing you in the way that he's blessing you. Yep. Let's talk to your dad. Because, man, you're a coach. You're a coach. And it's obvious that you're a proud coach. But I watch you turn it on, too. You turn it on.
Oh, yeah, it's times. It is. And, it isn't, you like to put on that I'm dad first and then, coach second. And as you alluded to, it ain't always easy.
Yeah.
When he's an unattached athlete, so it's just him and I. I think you mentioned coaching basketball, so you got 10 other people out there, but it's just Gunner, I, and a track. And, his off day would be someone's pretty good day, right?
Yeah.
So if he's having an off day and, numbers are off and, it takes me to kind of pause for a moment and kind of reel it in a little bit. But there was a lot of growing pains with that, just being real.
I got you.
A lot of growing pains with that where I had to dig deeper to figure out what I was doing wrong. And what I was doing wrong initially in the first couple of years of, trying to coach him was I was putting too much pressure on him.
Okay.
And what I found in doing that is, number one, when you put so much pressure on a person, it's not fun. It becomes more of a work. And it's not, here's something that I really enjoy doing. I get to run against other people. It's I got to go clock in, clock out, train and do something else again. And it wasn't becoming fun. Mm-hmm. And I had that mentality in playing collegiate football that I had to get them hype.
Yeah.
So we listening to, like locker room music. And I'm like, Guns, I need you to go in the corner. Don't talk to nobody. Game face. It's time to go. And he'll tell you, that's what we were doing.
Yeah.
But it had a negative effect on him because it was causing his nerves to get even more out of whack.
Okay.
And and then what would happen is right before the gun would go off, he would vomit.
Wow.
So it got to a point where they would literally have a garbage can next to him and it would be like, Dad, you need to make sure you get Gunner. So I'm like, what is going on? And I kind of did a little bit of research about athletes that, so I'm like, wait a minute. What I'm trying to do, it ain't working. So Lord, I want you to give me the strength to figure it out because the last thing I want is to lose my relationship as a father over the sport.
I like that.
And that's what happens in life where as men, as coaches, we like to kind of to live our dreams and aspirations, through our young ones that we bring up instead of giving them the platform to grow into who they're destined to be.
Yeah.
So I'm glad and grateful that over the course of a year or so, year and a half, honestly, I figured it out before it was too late.
Wow.
And instead of me listening to our hype music, it was at that time before his cell phone. Get your iPad, go over there, play your games, do what you want to do, go talk to other people, and then when it's time, it's time. And that just, first time he got out there, ran, no problems. I'm like, wait a minute. So I need to back off a bit. Very humbling experience, but it's one that we go through often. And imagine if I didn't come to that point to realize I'm the issue. We may not be here today.
Wow.
And that's as real as it can be. We may not be here today having this conversation about his growth and where he's destined to go to at some point, hopefully, God willing.
Amen. That is real. And so you kept the priority. I am dad first, coach second.
Had a we tend to market Gunner and his accomplishments and sort of our shirts. And if one of my shirts a year ago said that exact thing, dad first, coach second.
Like that.
And as a reminder to not forget my major role, my priority.
Wow.
My priorities in line are to be a father first and then to watch him excel. Because again, during those dark phases, can you imagine not having a great track meet?
Yeah.
Then coming home, he has to be in a car with me. So those conversations don't just leave on the track.
That's right.
We're having the same conversations about what he messed up on throughout the whole ride home.
Yeah.
Something had to give.
Wow.
And it was me.
That's amazing.
But it's real.
It is real. And that's one aspect of your relationship that I really admire. And I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be frank too. When you see, especially in our culture, we always, not say we, but what's always highlighted is when an athlete make it big, it seems like they look for that loophole, or they look for the hole or the breakdown in the family. And so whether the father's never in his life or the father is there, they kind of try to exploit that relationship. In my opinion, I've seen it too often. And so we kind of glorify or highlight the broken homes or the absenteeism father. But when you have a father that's unapologetically supporting his son, coaching his son, making sacrifices for his son, I think these are the stories that should be highlighted.
Absolutely.
And
Amen.
yep, and that's why I love it. I love it. And you wasn't even a track coach until he started running track.
No track coach.
Wow.
I did not run 100-meter dash.
Wow.
Again, played football, but I did track, and it was shot put and disc. So absolutely no love. You heard a loud grunt, a thud when the ball hit the ground, and nobody around to watch it. Wow. Everybody's looking for the 100-meter, dashes, runners, and we get no love.
I'm not laughing at you.
But so you can laugh because what do we say? It's real.
It's real.
So no background in coaching, and Coach Rose, who relocated. She's from the area here, and honestly had gotten us to the position that we're in right now. So I'm one that doesn't feel like I need to sit here and take all of the the fame and glory because of where he is right now. Coach Rose, she was basically his coach these last, I would say, I was kind of coaching him those last 2 years, but prior to that, it was her, and I was her assistant. See? And it was like I was on one side, she was on the other. Whatever she was telling me to do, I was doing, and Gunner was doing as well. So we had our team thing going, and then she relocated 2 years ago, and that's where we were faced with a true question about saying, what are we gonna do?
Wow.
Because now it's me and him.
I like that.
Right?
Yeah.
And one of the more joyful moments we had was when we wrapped up our first season together as a father-son duo.
Come on, man.
Look at me.
I like
and
that.
At the last practice, we're getting ready for the Junior Olympics. We looked at each other. Do you remember what we said?
I think so.
What did we say?
We did it.
We did it.
We did it. Wow.
And that's tough because I didn't know what to do. I'm going to be real with you. Wow. I'm like, I have this kid with so much talent, and I know that. But, Father, give me the strength to be able to guide him in terms of whatever he's destined to become, because I have no blueprint.
Wow.
I have no blueprint. Trial and error. But it was at the end of that 2.5 years ago, where it was like we looked at each other, didn't even have it scripted, and said, we did it.
We did it.
How? Ups and downs, highs and lows, but we did it.
Wow.
So I'm just thankful.
Yeah.
I am, because we could have taken an alternative route by saying, well, maybe you go join this team, go join that team. And with her departure, and she's still involved also, we communicate quite often, there was even more doors that opened up. Wow. So we kind of watched the Lord play this, play everything out. Yeah. It was, okay, well, you have access here, you have access there, don't worry about that there. It was so much open it up where we thought it may be closing on us. Wow. So it was like, wait a minute, we could do this. And as a result, he'll tell you, one thing you cannot do is you can't cheat on the track. And what I mean by that is if you are not faithful, my friend, and you go out and you're seeing another sport on the low, that track will humble you because you can't hide from it. At all. You cannot hide from it. So, that's one thing that we've learned, man, throughout this process is his dedication.
Wow.
Craft. He's by himself. Wow. There's no other push, and we stuck with it, and now he can tell you where he needs to be at a particular time on a track. That's amazing. As a 12-year-old, but he's been doing it the last couple of years. So if you watch him, and it's like, how is he still breaking records if he's by himself? Well, our mentality in practice is just that.
Yeah.
So we go get it
Go
in
get it.
practice.
I watch. You know I know.
All right, we go get it in practice. And sometimes he may run faster in practice than he does in a track meet. Because I'm screaming, I'm running across the track, pulling a hamstring, whatever we need to do. And I did pull a hamstring trying to race him 2 years ago. I said, that's it. No, we will not do that again. Yeah, that was bad.
I see you pointing at me too. You let me know it. Don't do it.
Nah,
don't do it.
Nah, definitely not. Nah.
I got to catch him now before he get 13.
He's gotten a little taller now, as we talked about.
I know.
So.
I told you that. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's kind of where we are right now with things. I mean,
love it.
We're enjoying this journey, man.
I love it, and the world get to see it. The world get to see it. I do. I got something I want to talk about. Let's talk about a proud moment. One of your proudest moments as being a coach and dad. How did coach and dad kind of come together at a track meet?
Got it. So, proud moment for me as a coach and a dad. It was most recent.
Wow, I could. Woo.
It was most recent.
Take my hat off for this one, Clint. I got to show the bald head. I'm ready for this.
It's all good. I mean, we got tools for that.
Yeah.
We got something for that.
I'm ready.
They get creative with clippers nowadays. So in any event, proud moment as a dad. I'd have to say the New Balance track meet that just happened in Philadelphia. And the reason I share that is
Let's go.
While we were in Seattle at Brooks, PR Invitational, Gunner's the only sixth grader there, period. All right? And he's handpicked. You are handpicked to participate in Brooks. And it's an experience of a lifetime. And he's running against 12 of the best eighth graders in the country as a sixth grader.
Wow.
Gets on the line, goes, has an opportunity to win, gets boxed. He got boxed in, and as a result, couldn't get out of that being boxed in, trying to navigate his way through, couldn't, and then ended up placing fifth. And then breaking a world record also by placing fifth. So we shoot out, and again, I mean, and to watch, I looked at his face and it was kind of like, you know what, I don't feel defeated. You know what I mean? Like I had a chance, but I'm going to grow from this moment.
Wow.
Right? And the first thing he said was, and this is not even a proud moment. We're going to get to the proudest moment.
Come on.
This one ain't it. So he was like, I ran my race. Remember you told me that?
You
can almost brand that. You can almost brand that.
Could.
He said, I ran my race.
I ran my race against order competition for the first time ever.
Got out, had to lead, made a slight mistake. So we're in Philadelphia, getting ready for the New Balance National Outdoor Invitational. And we're in a hotel, and it's just Gunner and I. And we have our little routine that we do beforehand. It's what do we do beforehand, before you get ready to go? The handshake, and then what?
Yeah, we do handshake, and then we say I love you.
And that's it, right? That's it.
You get a sip of water,
and then we go. So what I told him is, I said, Gunner, we're going to take a different approach for this one, all right? What we're going to do is, if someone tries to pass you, this is your house, okay?
That's right.
This is your house. If someone tries to pass you, consider that disrespectful, and in your mind, you tell them 2 words. What are those 2 words?
Not today.
Not today.
Not today. All right? And if you watched him run, he did that exact thing every time someone tried it. And the commentators initially, they weren't really talking about him. They were kind of like focused on a few others and noticed that he was leading. And it was almost like they were waiting for the older kids to actually end up passing him. And then it got real. And then they tried and then didn't, and tried and didn't. And as he ran through that line, he gave everything that he had in his soul. He could not give any more than what was dished out. And I share that with you because if you watch it, you can see that even before the finish line, he was dropping and dropping and dropping. But he was determined to be the first one to run through that finish line at whatever cost. And that cost was putting himself out there and giving everything he had on the line. Never seen it before to that level. He finishes the race. Usually if you ever watch him, it's like, oh, he's not even tired. He can get up and keep going. He could not stand. And as a father, I'm like, okay, media's coming. Everybody's ready to talk to him. We're getting going. But he was like, Dad, my legs, like, I really can't stand, And I'm like, what's going on? And you finally get him up after a little bit, and then his body goes through a whole different phase. He begins vomiting, and many people don't even know that. He begins vomiting, and then I'm like, whoa, like, what is going on here? Like, you got every major media, like, they all want to interview him.
Yeah.
So I sit him down again, and same thing. He's like, Dad, I'm not feeling well, and I think he's okay, but he's like, I've never, ever seen him like that. So then we get up again. He partially does an interview. He's like, Dad, I can't. Then he started to tell me, well, I feel like I'm seeing things right now, or colors, or, So now I go into a whole different mode. And if you were to look at his Instagram page, there's one image on there that shows me picking him up and carrying him off. And I don't get intimidated that much. I'm not bulletproof by whatever stretch of the imagination.
That's right.
But for the first time, track related, all I can do is just pray because I didn't see this side before. So while many would look at the photo on his Instagram page of me carrying him is like, that's a moment that you have to capture for the rest of your life.
Gosh.
There's only a handful that actually knows that that was his only way to get to the other side of the track.
Wow.
So again, he gave everything he had in his soul to not lose as a sixth grader. There's nothing else. It's like a mic drop. There's nothing else that I can say.
Yeah.
We watched the film, and it was, Gunnar, for the first time, you ran your race from start to finish.
Wow.
There's nothing else I can say about that. But to see him, have the opportunity to get that gold medal around his neck, there was pain, there's sacrifice. Why some people are out there, eating candy apples and drinking sodas, and he still gets to be a kid, but we kind of manage that a little bit.
Yeah.
But he understands what we have in front of us right now. So to see him stand up on the podium, at the podium, at a New Balance National Outdoor Meet, first time a sixth grader in history
Wow.
won a national meet, national middle school meet, to break the meet record, the world record, 3 days after he broke another one, flying across the country. Sixth grader.
Sixth grade.
You got pros that can't, your body has to adapt, and you know what I mean? So it was a very touching moment for me. Like I said, I was thankful that the work came to fruition. What we envisioned, right? Because you envision your success. I don't care if you play football, but you envision the clock going down to 1 second and you're at the 3-point line and you're down by 2. The coach calls your play up. Here's a screen, boom. You make the shot.
Wow.
He did that. And I had to carry him off. Man. And that one still hits a little different as a dad.
I got you.
That one is one I think about all the time.
Wow.
Because I don't know a kid that's tougher than that. But he's been a fighter his entire life, overcoming asthma from birth to 3, nebulizer, Butylol, all that good stuff. He's been a fighter his entire life.
Wow.
So part of me should be like, am I truly surprised? Because his name's Gunnar. It means strong, bold warrior, if you look up the definition between that.
Wow. That's big time.
Can I run down the last 200 of my 800 race
Son, you can.
at New Balance
Yes, come
Internationals? All right, this is probably like my favorite part of ever running track. So I look up at the big board at 620 meters out of the 800, and I see this one kid coming close to passing me. So from there on, I normally start my kick at like 150, 100. So I started at there, which is kind of 180-ish, and I just go. I say forget it. I just go start my kick there, and then I'm coming up, and then the last 100 is crazy. All the kids are coming up, and these kids like run the mile, they run 1500, they run all of that, so they can hold their speed,
Yeah.
and then just like go all out for the last like 150. So, I'm gonna say last 100, I go, and then it's the same kick that I had from the 180, but the last 50, that's where a whole last like
Wow.
gear come. I find something that I never found before,
Good God, oh my.
and then I start separating away from them, and then when I come, if you see my race, you see I would kind of dive a little bit awkward. It's because when I dove, I wanted to feel all of the tape, wanted to feel all of the ribbon at
Come
the
on,
finish
dude.
line. And yeah, that's the story right there.
God,
That's
who thinks like that?
favorite part.
And this was in Seattle.
Yes,
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia.
So, but in Seattle, I don't know if y'all mentioned this yet, unless I got it wrong, because I'm a semi-stalker when it comes to you running track and all that stuff. I think, was it in Seattle at the Brooks where he was named the MVP?
Yes.
Ooh, look at that. First time in history.
The junior MVP. Which,
Yep.
if you don't know, junior is middle school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I was named the MVP out of the junior.
And that's the first time that ever happened.
A sixth grader. First
As a
time
sixth
a
grader.
sixth grader. Because again, and it doesn't matter, it's the young ladies and the young men, 6th through 8th grade.
Wow.
Any event. And again, first time that they are, that a sixth grader won the MVP. And he was the only one to break a world record in Brooks. And I believe he was the only one to break a world record initially in Philadelphia also.
Wow.
Regardless of what age.
See, I mean, this is amazing to me, and just think about this, and this for you, Gunner. You have 7 world records, right?
Yes, sir.
And you just received you was just recognized the other day, right?
Yeah, I think
Yes,
Talk about that
yesterday.
yesterday. Let's talk about that just a little bit. What happened? What was you recognized for?
I think I was recognized for the special
Recognition.
special recognition thing, and then they said all of my achievements is in a book. It's in the Tyrod Taylor book on one of the pages, like 20 something. You would find my picture, my Instagram picture, which is me holding a ribbon up in a black Nike, what I used to wear. And then it's just like all of my achievements, everything I've been through, it was right there. He read like a paragraph of it.
Yeah.
And and then I just stand right there next to my dad on the side waiting for him, like whenever he says Gunner Hammett, and then they clap, and then I go down to the guy who has like the award thing, and I'm standing next to him, and I hold it with him, and I take a picture.
Wow.
I'll tell you, that was, again, I mean, we're starting to hear like a common denominator of Gunner being the youngest in the room. He was amongst some of the best coaches that received awards. Best high school and college athletes in and out of state that received awards in high school. There's probably 30 awards given out that night, but everybody else was certainly at least in high school.
Wow.
So for him to be recognized on that platform, and that's when the mayor of Hampton, Mayor Tuck, came up and presented him with the challenge coin.
Huge.
as well, just unexpected. So the good thing is, I think the world is starting to truly know, as you asked earlier, who am I? Well, who is, Gunner?
Wow.
They're starting to realize that he's here for the long haul. He's not, this isn't like an accident. He's been performing for some years now. And he has some good role models to look up to and follow. And again, I'm going to credit my wife and daughter, and, his other family members that live a little bit further out. We had 13 of our relatives in Philadelphia.
Wow.
My parents, his Nana and Paul came out, and his cousins came out.
And then my goddad, my godmom, and my older god sister and my younger god sister.
We had 13, man, that were in Philadelphia. So it just goes to show the level of support for Gunner.
That's huge.
We're gunning for Gunner.
Gunner for Gunner. I love that. I love that. Just think about his name, though. I mean, what made you name him Gunner?
I was watching a football game, and it was like they were going over top high school athletes in the country, and like there was a quarterback whose name was Gunner, and I'm like, man, if I'm ever given this opportunity, and it was like, you know what, opportunity came, and I'm like, Gunner. And my wife wanted to name him Cruz, so we put it together. His middle name's Cruz, so it's like Gunner Cruz Hammett, and I think, like you said, there's just so much, that we can do with that. But he's special. We all think our children are special, but he's special, and he has a no-quit attitude and no shortcut. No looking at the answers to the test. He wants to figure it out and kind of navigate his own destiny.
Those are the intangibles that you can't coach.
I can't.
Either you got it or you don't.
That's
and
it.
you go get it.
That's it.
And you go get it.
In an Olympic year, too. I mean, the Olympics going on right now, and he's progressing during and having an opportunity to watch. Yeah. People that he knows that are trying to make the Olympics, people that he was in the same room with. I mean, it's so he has the chance to sit in and like really take it in firsthand.
Who are some of your role models, people you look up to in the track and field world? Because I already know your mom and dad is number one.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's one of them is I would say Quincy Wilson, someone who people compare me to a lot. Because he can run 2 through mile, probably I would say. 2 through mile just like I can. And he can excel at every single one of those races. So, yeah, like I can. Yeah. So he's one of them. Brandon Miller is one of them too. 800, people compare me to him too. He can run 4, 8, mile, 15, anything really. Wow. And can excel at a very high rate at all of them too.
LaShawn Merritt, we met him multiple times.
LaShawn Merritt, and he came to some of my track meets.
Wow!
And after every time, he would give me some pointers on stuff that he thinks that I could do a little bit better in my race.
I like that
for the 400.
I like that, and it's funny because I even saw something today, like people that you look up to, like you just mentioned, Quincy Wilson. I follow him now because of you, and so to hear him say out his own mouth. He said he don't know why Gunner looks up to him because he looks up to you. And so it's just amazing to see that people older than you that you look up to, they look at you too and support you as well. I think that's tremendous.
Well, can I say something else?
Please do.
I just thought of someone. Another one is Noah Lyles.
Okay.
The reason why is because whenever he goes into a race, he has the mentality to win all the time. And I just try to follow that mentality. And he has a mentality that no one's gonna beat him in his house.
I like that.
And his top end speed is incredible and crazy.
Wow.
It don't matter how his start goes, he will always come back and get you. No
I like
matter
that.
What you do. So
you have on your Instagram page. I saw because I follow you on Instagram. You know that. One post on Instagram, we have over 4 million views and still climbing. Maybe more than that right now, maybe 5 million, but I know it's still climbing. 7 world records that you've broken, flying all across the world. You've been in dozens of interviews. You've interviewed people. I watched how you interviewed Michael Vick. I think that was the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
I love that moment. But like, how do you not get sucked in by all of that? And what do you do to continue to maintain me being a 12-year-old kid? What does that look like for you?
I would say my parents are a big help in making sure that I'm in the right place as a kid, as a 12-year-old kid. They keep me on track and they keep me grounded.
Wow.
And yeah.
This dude like a professional. You are a professional.
And also, I like Christian Coleman too.
Okay.
His start, I would say he's like the best starter in the world. If you didn't see his start, he comes out with his feet dragged for like the first 5 meters, and then brings them up, keeping his dry face down, and then gradually coming up with his arms flying as fast as can be.
Wow.
And yeah.
So you know what I'm gonna do, because a lot of stuff that you're saying to me right now is like a foreign language, and for me it's evident that you know your sport. You put in the work. You study your craft. And so by listening to the terminology, I know that you actually are engaged. You studying, you putting in the work on the track and off the track. For you even mention all these guys that are before you, and probably know guys that were before them as well. It let me know as a coach that you're a student of your craft, which is also impressive. Now, before I let you go, go ahead. You're going to say something.
Oh yeah, can I say a little bit more about Christian Coleman? I have
Go
one more
ahead.
thing. Obviously, he's not the tallest person in the world, but he has the most dog and most heart out of all of his
I like that.
competitors, and he won't let height, won't let weight, won't let size in general. He won't let size in general come in between and mess up his mindset and what he thinks about how his race is gonna go.
Wow. What's your biggest dream? I got one more question for you after that.
My
What's your
biggest
biggest
dream?
Yep.
I'll say my number one dream right now is to make it to the Olympics,
Wow.
track Olympics.
I told my wife yesterday, I said, look, wife, I said, Gunner is 12 years old. I said, we got another Olympics coming up in 4 years. I said, so get
LA.
your money ready, because I think we're going to be going to
2028.
the Olympics.
It's in L.A.
LA.
Oh, wow.
128 is what it's called. They're building a brand new
See?
track and everything else.
So possibly we may be there, right?
Yes, sir.
We may be there. One more question for you before I turn over to your dad. So what advice would you give somebody that's your age or older or younger? But what would be your advice to them if they have dreams and they have goals? What would you say to them?
I would say that whenever you're in a race, I would say don't get discouraged about anything.
Okay.
I would say focus on your race mostly, and focus on how you want it to go. So I want you to envision how your race is gonna go, what your split times is gonna be, all of that, and I want you also to envision you winning at the end of the day, and you coming across the finish line first.
Wow. And so what you just took, that advice you just told me, to me, even though I do run, and I think I'm ready to race you too. Yeah. I think we're gonna put the challenge right here on our podcast. I'm gonna race you. You may win, but I'm gonna empty myself just like you did. I'm ready for. Give me about 30 days.
What race we gonna run?
I'm a long distance runner.
You wanna run 800?
We can run 8 miles.
8 miles.
You beat me in 800. You're not gonna beat me in 8 miles.
Yeah, I won't. What about 1 mile?
No, you beat me. You smoke me in 1 mile. You smoke me. You gotta give me some grace. I'm 46 years old. You gotta look out for me. You do. But what you just said, that advice, even though you spoke to kids that potentially are running track, and it's funny because when I watched you run track, when I do come and watch, it's like, and I don't know if you hear it. I know Simone and your mom and Harlow probably do. I know they do, but it's the kids and the parents, especially the kids. When you walk on the track, the kids, they whisper, "There's Gunner."
Yes.
There's Gunner. And for them to one day they're gonna watch this podcast and they're gonna hold on to that advice that you just gave them. And for somebody like me, I take that and apply it to my everyday life. always look to win. Look for the victory.
Yes.
Don't give up. Don't quit.
Can I say something else?
Please do. You can say whatever you want to. This is your podcast.
So, also one thing that I just learned, not too long ago is, whenever you focus on the win, no matter if you get the win or not, the time is gonna show. So, like, if you get the win, your time is gonna be like obviously really fast. So yeah, that's some also that Patrick Kilby told me. He's an 800-meter runner, and he won the high school 800 meters and at New Balance Nationals, and is going to Wisconsin, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, that's something that I will always hold on, like you told me to, what he said. And yeah, don't go for the time, go for the win, and then the time will eventually show itself.
Wow. So you take this advice and you apply it.
Yes.
You apply it. That's impressive. At 12 years old. Clint, what you got to say about your son, man?
I mean, what Gunnar just shared about, because before we were focusing in on, get this record, do that. It was like, you know what, records are great, but at this point we need to do. We got to win. Yeah. Let's go for the win, and that changed his whole mindset now. The time will take care of itself. If you walk by faith on a daily basis, the clock will take care of itself.
I like that. I think today I learned a lot more about you both. I really did learn a lot more about you both. But just to have you two sitting here side by side on this podcast with me today, it's like, man, this is big time. This is big time, and it feels so surreal for me, this moment. And I greatly appreciate you both for coming, for taking your time, because your time is valuable. Your time is valuable. I think you're about to take a break right now, but it's like, man, I really appreciate y'all spending this time with me. And Clint, I'm gonna give you the last words before we close out. I just want you to kind of just speak to the world, speak to all the dads.
Well, if I had to leave a closing thought to all of the dads out there, I would say to embrace your job description.
Gosh, oh man.
And don't take it for granted. Go for the highest rating in terms of being a dad. Get that exceeds rating, meaning that you've given all you can to make sure that your family is better today than it was tomorrow, and that your kids have more than what you had coming up.
Wow.
Because they're depending on you to continue leading by example.
Wow. So I just now want to ask you another question.
Sure.
I would keep you here all night, but I'm not going to do that.
That's all good.
I got you, my friend. We're like brothers.
It's
I got
all
you.
good.
I can call you anytime I want to.
It's all good.
But I thank you. I really do. And I really appreciate you, and I appreciate you, Gunnar, so much. And before we go, I'm going to give some shout-outs to the
absolutely.
people that support us and make sure that this Zoe Life podcast is a thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a thing. So I want to first say thank you to CA Bars Contractor. I want to also say a big thank you to V7 Apparel. A big thank you to Dream Igaro Productions. A big thank you to Igaro Apparel. A big thank you to Shark Cuts and Beauty Bar. A big thank you to Keymaster Boxing Gym. And especially I want to say a thank you to Jake Nephew Lathers and Malik LDK. They actually run Dream Igaro Productions, and they make all of this possible. I love them. I love you all. Go get it. Guns. Look, the people they're gonna want to follow you. They want to know how to get in contact with you. They heard about your 7 world records and all the great stuff that you got going on. So how can they get in contact with you? How can they follow you?
Okay, so I have an Instagram. It's called Gunning, Gunning, with the number 4, and then Gunner, Gunner. That's how you can find me on Instagram.
Got you. I appreciate that.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you once again
No
for
problem.
coming to the show.
No problem.
Tell everybody
Anytime.
about Zoe Life Podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I can get some of your followers.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Clint, you don't got social media.
No, my job is to kind of help him. So, yeah, absolutely. So, again, follow him. He's the future. Gunning, Gunning, 4, Gunner, Gunner. You won't be disappointed.
No, sir. Not at all. Not at all. Hey, thank y'all once again.
Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate you. Yeah.
And every time I think about you, I cry. But I gotta move on, keep going stronger. My days getting darker, my faith is longer without you. Without you.